Today we are looking at the monster adventure movie, Monster Trucks. In a remote part of the United States, a company called Terravex is drilling deep underground to collect oil. The company's owner, Tennyson, arrives at the site after getting an urgent message from the chief biologist, Jim. Jim explains that the drill has broken into a huge underground pool of water. He believes strange living creatures could be hiding inside it. Tennyson ignores the warning and orders the workers to keep drilling. As the cameras enter the underground pool, they suddenly capture the movement of unknown creatures. Seconds later, the pressure inside the chamber becomes too strong. A massive wave of water bursts through the drilling equipment. The powerful blast destroys machines across the mining site. Several giant creatures are thrown out of the underground cave and crash onto the surface. The workers are stunned by what they see. They quickly capture most of the strange animals and lock them inside large tanks. Then, the head of security, Mr. Burke, discovers that one creature has escaped. Tennyson orders everyone to find it before anyone else learns about the discovery. He fears the government will shut down the entire project if the creatures become public. The next day, a young mechanic named Coley is repairing the engine of his old truck. While working, he hears a strange sound coming from the junkyard. He walks over to see what is making the noise. When he reaches the old cars, he notices several oil containers have been ripped open. Without warning, more containers fall over around him. Frightened, Coley runs back into the garage. He quickly shuts the large metal doors behind him. Then he hides inside a small crawl space. From above, he hears something huge crawling across the roof. A giant tentacle slowly slips through a narrow opening in the metal door. Terrified, Coley searches for another way out. He jokes to himself that he does not want to end up like people in monster movies. At last, he opens another hatch and escapes outside. Before leaving, he locks the heavy doors to keep the creature trapped inside. Coley immediately calls the police and tells them a giant monster is hiding in the garage. The officers arrive a short time later and search the building. To everyone's surprise, the monster has disappeared. The only thing left behind is an empty oil container. The senior officer, Rick, believes Coley has made up the whole story. He angrily scolds him for wasting the police's time. It is later revealed that Rick is Coley's stepfather. Rick believes Coley is only acting out to annoy him. After the officers leave, Coley starts thinking about what he saw. He realizes the creature seems interested only in places where oil is found. The following day, Coley decides to test his idea. He places several containers of oil inside a car crusher. He also pours oil over the machine to attract the creature. Then he waits nearby with the control remote. Before long, several tentacles appear behind the crusher. The missing creature slowly climbs onto the platform. It happily grabs an oil container and begins drinking the oil. The creature relaxes while eating, looking completely peaceful. Coley is surprised because it does not seem dangerous at all. He carefully walks closer to get a better look. The creature is so busy drinking that it does not notice him. When it finally sees Coley, it becomes startled. At the same moment, Coley accidentally damages the remote control. The broken remote activates the car crusher. The heavy machine slowly begins moving toward the creature. Coley tries everything he can to stop it, but nothing works. Without thinking, he rushes toward the monster. He grabs one of its large tentacles and pulls with all his strength. The crusher continues lowering toward them. Just before it can crush the creature, Coley drags it to safety. The frightened monster grabs Coley and lets out a loud roar. Then it notices the crushed oil containers nearby. The creature realizes Coley risked his life to save it. Coley slowly backs away. The creature calms down and lies quietly on the ground. Coley also notices that it has trouble moving on dry land. He nervously asks the creature not to eat him. To his surprise, the monster seems to understand. He offers it another container of oil. The creature happily drinks it. Little by little, trust begins to grow between them. Meanwhile, Tennyson's men arrive at the local police station. They ask whether anyone has reported anything unusual. The sheriff tells the officers to stay quiet. However, one officer accidentally mentions a strange call from Coley's junkyard. At the same time, Coley places the creature on a large rolling platform. He plans to take it to the police station to prove he was telling the truth. When he returns with his truck, the creature has disappeared. He soon finds it happily rolling around on the platform while chasing a dog. Coley runs after it and grabs the rope attached to the platform. The creature notices him immediately. With one quick movement, it throws Coley through the air as if he weighs nothing. Coley quickly gets back on his feet and runs after the giant squid-like creature, hoping to stop it before it disappears. However, the monster has already reached the garage. As Coley chases after it, bright headlights suddenly shine across the junkyard. Two large vehicles pull in and stop nearby. The visitors are Burke and several Teravex security guards. Burke walks up to Coley and demands to know exactly what he saw the previous night. Wanting to protect the creature, Coley lies and says he never saw anything unusual. Burke doesn't believe him. Without asking permission, Burke and his men begin searching the garage. Luckily, the creature is nowhere to be seen. Then, Coley notices something surprising. The monster has secretly climbed inside his truck. Trying not to panic, Coley quickly covers the creature's tentacles before anyone can notice them. To distract Burke, he points toward the other side of the junkyard and claims he heard a strange noise there. For a moment, the plan seems to work. Then everything almost falls apart. The creature accidentally starts moving the truck toward the group. Coley rushes over and pretends he is pushing the truck himself. His quick thinking fools Burke and the guards. Without raising any suspicion, he slowly moves the truck away from the garage. Once they are alone, Coley realizes he has another problem. The creature refuses to listen to anything he says. No matter how hard he tries to control it, the monster ignores him. During the struggle, Coley loses his balance and falls flat on the ground. Things become even more embarrassing when his friend Meredith arrives for their study session. She finds Coley lying on the ground. He tries to act like he was doing push-ups, but she is not convinced. Coley nervously tells Meredith that she should leave. His strange behavior upsets her. She reminds him that she came all the way there just to study with him. Before they can continue arguing, a loud roar comes from inside the truck. The sound immediately catches the attention of Burke and his men. Realizing they have no time left, Coley quickly pushes Meredith into the truck. He can only hope the creature will drive without hurting either of them. The monster suddenly brings the truck to life. The vehicle races away from the junkyard at high speed. Coley grabs the steering wheel tightly as if his life depends on it. The ride quickly becomes out of control. The truck leaves the road and bounces across rough hills. The creature seems to be enjoying every second of the wild ride. Meanwhile, Coley and Meredith can barely hold on. The monster skillfully avoids trees while jumping over bumps with its tentacles waving through the air. After the crazy ride, the truck safely reaches a large grassy field. Coley quickly jumps out. He angrily yells at the truck for nearly getting them killed. Meredith becomes even more confused because she has no idea who he is talking to. Knowing she will never believe him otherwise, Coley tells her to look underneath the truck. She slowly bends down to take a look. The moment she sees the strange creature hiding inside, she screams in terror and falls backward. Her scream also frightens the monster. For a moment, both the woman and the creature scare each other. Meredith cannot believe what she has just seen. Coley calmly explains that the creature is actually friendly. Although she is still frightened, she slowly begins listening to him. Later, Coley drives Meredith home. The creature refuses to leave the truck and stays hidden inside. Coley decides he has no choice but to pull the monster out himself. He tries everything he can to force it outside. However, he soon notices something interesting. Whenever the creature cannot see what is in front of it, it completely stops moving. That discovery gives Coley a brand new idea. Instead of forcing the creature out, he decides to rebuild the truck around it. He starts modifying the vehicle so the monster can safely stay inside. He also creates special covers that allow him to control how much the creature can see. By opening or closing the covers, he hopes to control the truck's speed. While working, Coley carefully studies how the creature moves. He discovers that its powerful tentacles can turn the truck's axle. Realizing this, he redesigns the truck so the monster itself becomes the engine. The next morning, Meredith walks into the barn. She is amazed to see that Coley has completely transformed the truck. She is even more surprised to learn that he has given the creature a name. From now on, the friendly monster will be called Creech. The next morning, Coley climbs into the driver's seat to test his new creation. As soon as Creech gets comfortable inside the truck, it powers the vehicle like a real engine. The truck speeds across the hills with incredible power. Creech's playful personality also makes every turn and jump feel exciting. Meredith enjoys the ride, but she reminds Coley that they cannot keep Creech forever. She says the creature is probably missing its family and wants to go home. At first, Coley does not want to believe her. He has become attached to Creech and even spends time taking selfies with his new friend. After thinking about it, he admits that Meredith is right. He promises to help Creech return home. The only person who might know where Creech came from is Coley's biological father. His father works for Teravex at the mining site. Coley and Meredith decide to drive there and ask him for help. On the way, they stop at a gas station. Coley tries to refuel the truck but has no idea where the fuel should go. Since Creech is inside the vehicle, he worries about putting the gasoline in the wrong place. While they are still at the station, one of Coley's rich classmates arrives. The boy laughs at Coley's old truck and makes fun of how broken it looks. A few seconds later, Creech revs the engine loudly. The truck suddenly shoots forward like a powerful sports car. The classmates are left speechless. Soon Coley notices that something is wrong. Creech begins driving wildly and refuses to stay under control. The truck swerves through traffic like an excited child with endless energy. Meredith quickly realizes what caused the problem. She explains that the gasoline contains many chemicals. Those chemicals are making Creech act strangely. The truck races down the highway at dangerous speed. It weaves between cars and barely avoids several crashes. Creech even grabs parts of the truck with its tentacles while trying to take control. Meredith becomes terrified and struggles to stay calm. The out-of-control truck crashes into a used car dealership. At that moment, a salesman is trying to cheat an elderly customer. His dishonest behavior is punished instantly. Coley's truck smashes through several parked cars. It then crashes into a van filled with paint. The exploding paint covers the salesman from head to toe, making him look like a clown. Before the police can arrive, Coley, Meredith, and Creech escape. A short time later, they reach the Terravex mining site. Coley finally meets his biological father after a long time apart. His father welcomes them into his trailer. He explains everything that happened during the drilling accident. As Coley listens carefully, he realizes Creech must have escaped from deep underground during the explosion. Just as he is about to reveal that Creech is hiding inside the truck, everything goes wrong. His father secretly contacts Terravex security. He has betrayed them. Moments later, Burke and his guards arrive. Burke grabs Coley and tries to take him away by force. Seeing its friend in danger, Creech becomes furious. The monster starts the truck and revs the engine loudly. During the confusion, Coley breaks free. He tells Meredith to jump into the truck. Creech spins the vehicle across the ground, knocking the guards away. Burke finally realizes that the missing creature is hiding inside the truck. His men rush forward and try to grab the vehicle. Coley climbs back behind the wheel. Instead of escaping immediately, he drives straight toward his father's trailer. The truck crashes through the building and tears it apart. Then they race toward the exit. Before they can leave, Sheriff Rick suddenly appears. He is shocked to see his stepson causing trouble once again. Burke's security team and the sheriff both begin chasing them. Coley speeds through the streets while the pursuers stay close behind. To escape, he turns into a narrow alley. Using the truck's special upgrades, he easily jumps over several obstacles. Burke is unable to keep up. His vehicle crashes into a large garbage bin. Even after that, the chase continues. Sheriff Rick refuses to give up. Coley turns into another small street. When Rick follows him inside, the truck has completely disappeared. The sheriff looks around in confusion. What he does not realize is that Coley has driven up the walls and is hiding above him. The clever move reminds Meredith of an action scene from a Jackie Chan movie. Rick eventually drives away, believing they escaped somewhere else. Unfortunately, Burke finds them again a short time later. With nowhere left to run, Coley reaches a dead end. Burke closes in behind them. Just when it seems they are trapped, Coley activates another upgrade. The sides of the truck open. Creech stretches out its tentacles and climbs up the side of a nearby building. Burke watches in complete disbelief. The truck races across rooftops as if gravity no longer matters. It jumps over wide gaps and crashes through windows without slowing down. Eventually, the truck lands safely back on the road. Coley keeps driving as fast as he can. However, Burke and his men are still right behind them. Looking for another way to escape, Coley heads toward a railway crossing. A long freight train is already approaching. He decides to use the train to lose his pursuers. Without slowing down, he races toward the tracks. At the last second, the truck jumps over the train and lands safely on the other side. Burke is forced to stop. Excited by his successful escape, Coley spins the truck in victory before driving away. The group finally reaches a quiet cabin owned by Meredith's father. They decide to hide there until things calm down. Coley thanks Creech for saving their lives once again. That night, Coley, Meredith, and Creech rest near a campfire outside the cabin. As they relax, Coley opens up about his feelings. He admits that he is hurt because his own father chose the company over him. Meredith gently comforts him. She tells Coley that none of this is his fault. She says his father's mistakes do not define who he is. Meredith reminds him that he grew into a kind and brave person despite everything. Her words make Coley smile. A little later, he quietly walks back to the truck. He sits alone inside, trying to hide his emotions. Seeing that his friend is upset, Creech reaches out with one of its tentacles. The creature gently comforts Coley. Then, Creech starts the truck and drives toward a nearby lake. When they arrive, Creech jumps into the water. Coley watches in amazement. The creature begins glowing with a beautiful blue light beneath the surface. For the first time, Coley sees Creech moving freely in the water. He thanks the creature for always protecting him. Then, he promises that he will help Creech return home. Meanwhile, Jim continues studying the captured creatures at the Terravex laboratory. He tells Tennyson that the animals are highly intelligent. Jim explains that they learn quickly and even seem to share knowledge with one another. Tennyson has no interest in the discovery. He only cares about protecting his business and making more money. To remove every obstacle, he decides to poison the underground water system. His plan is to kill every creature living below the mine. Jim is shocked by the cruel decision. Tennyson forces him to help with the operation. The trapped creatures sense the danger. They cry out in fear. Far away, Creech suddenly hears their calls. The voices belong to its own family. The next morning, Coley wakes up and discovers that both Creech and the truck are gone. He wonders why his friend disappeared without saying goodbye. Then he remembers that his phone is still inside the truck. Meredith uses her phone to track its location. The signal leads them straight to Terravex headquarters. Without wasting any time, they hurry there. When they arrive, they find the truck parked outside. However, Creech is nowhere to be seen. The two quietly sneak into the building through a back entrance. They carefully make their way through the halls. Eventually, they reach the basement. There, they discover a secret laboratory. Inside the lab are two giant tanks. Each tank holds one of the captured tentacle creatures. Before they can react, loud banging comes from the outside wall. Coley realizes that Creech is trying to break into the laboratory. The noise alerts the security guards. The guards rush toward Creech. They fire tranquilizer darts at the creature. After being hit several times, Creech becomes weak. Moments later, the monster collapses onto the ground. Coley watches helplessly as the guards drag his friend away. Soon afterward, Coley and Meredith are taken to Tennyson's office. Tennyson takes their phones. He deletes every photo showing the creature. Then he warns them to stop interfering with his plans. Finally, he orders Burke to remove them from the building. As the guards lead them away, Jim suddenly appears. He tells the guards that Tennyson wants to see the students somewhere else. The guards believe him and hand the pair over. Once they are alone, Jim reveals the truth. He secretly opposes Tennyson's plan. Jim says he will never allow an entire species to be destroyed for profit. He promises to help Coley and Meredith rescue Creech and the other creatures. The three of them quickly begin making a new rescue plan. Coley realizes they will need more trucks if they want to rescue all of the creatures. He quietly goes to the house of his rich classmate. The boy is too busy playing video games to notice anything. Coley takes his truck without being seen. The classmate's girlfriend notices what is happening. She walks to the window and watches Coley drive away. Instead of warning her boyfriend, she simply lets him leave. Next, Coley visits his good friend Sam. Sam's father owns a large car dealership. After hearing the whole story, Sam and his father agree to help. They gladly lend Coley another truck. Coley starts modifying both trucks. He changes them so the creatures can safely live and drive inside them. Everyone works together through the entire night. By sunrise, the special trucks are finally ready. At the same time, Jim watches the captured creatures being loaded onto a large transport truck. When the driver is distracted, Jim takes the opportunity to steal the vehicle. He quickly drives away before anyone can stop him. Jim heads straight to the car dealership. There, he opens the containers and frees the trapped creatures. Coley is overjoyed to see Creech again. Creech immediately rushes toward the other two creatures. The three monsters happily wrap their tentacles around one another. It becomes clear that they are a family. They had been separated during the mining accident. Everyone smiles as the family is finally reunited. Soon, each creature climbs into one of the modified trucks. The rescue team prepares to return them to their underground home. Instead of using the highway, they drive across rough off-road terrain. Before long, Burke and his security team discover where they are. They quickly chase after the rescue convoy. The enemy vehicles surround the monster trucks from every direction. Some of Burke's men even open fire at Jim's truck. Meredith reacts without hesitation. She drives straight toward the attackers. Her truck slams into the enemy vehicles. Several of them flip over and crash, stopping shooters. Even with that advantage, Coley knows they cannot outrun the pursuers on the open fields. He leads everyone into a thick forest. The trees make it much harder for Burke's team to follow. Thanks to the creatures, the trucks easily dodge rocks, branches, and fallen trees. Using their powerful legs and tentacles, the monsters help the trucks leap over large obstacles. Meanwhile, Sheriff Rick receives news about the dangerous chase. He immediately drives toward the area. When he arrives, he sees Burke's men chasing his stepson once again. Rick decides he has to stop the madness. He speeds across the hills to catch up. During the chase, Rick crashes directly into Burke's vehicle. The impact badly damages both trucks. Burke refuses to give up. He pushes Rick's police vehicle toward the edge of a cliff. A moment later, Rick's truck falls into a deep ditch. The police vehicle is completely wrecked. Rick climbs out safely, but now he must continue on foot. Meanwhile, Burke catches up to Coley again. The enemy truck rams Coley's vehicle. The hit nearly sends the monster truck over the edge of a cliff. For a terrifying moment, the truck hangs above the drop. Coley almost falls out. Just in time, Creech uses its strength to pull the truck back onto solid ground. The rescue team continues toward the mining site. Soon they spot a large chemical truck driving ahead of them. Jim immediately realizes what it is carrying. The chemicals are the poison Tennyson plans to dump into the underground water. Without wasting another second, everyone races after the truck. However, Burke has already prepared another trap. Enemy vehicles suddenly block every escape route. The rescue team is completely surrounded. To make things worse, flames are used to keep the creatures trapped. Because the monsters depend on petroleum, they are terrified of fire. For a moment, it seems there is no way out. Then a huge mining vehicle suddenly crashes into the area. It smashes several enemy trucks aside. The path is finally clear. To everyone's surprise, the driver is Sheriff Rick. Despite everything that happened before, he has chosen to help Coley. Rick lowers the back of the massive mining truck. The rescue vehicles race onto the ramp. They launch into the air and jump across the dangerous gap. After landing, the monster trucks bounce down the rocky hillside. Thanks to the creature's incredible balance, all of them reach the bottom safely. Without slowing down, they continue chasing the chemical truck. The team quickly catches up with the chemical truck. Coley sees an opportunity and drives straight toward it. He slams his truck into the side of the vehicle. The powerful hit flips the chemical truck onto its side. For a moment, everyone thinks they have stopped the poison. Then they notice another chemical truck arriving at the mining site. The workers immediately prepare to pump the poison underground. Coley, Meredith, and Jim rush toward the pumping station. Before Coley can reach the controls, Burke attacks him. The two begin fighting. Burke refuses to let anyone ruin Tennyson's plan. While Burke keeps Coley busy, Jim and Meredith run to the machines. They force the workers away from the controls. Then they try to shut down the pumps. No matter what they do, the machines refuse to stop. The pressure inside the system continues to rise. At the same time, Creech pushes over its truck and climbs out. The brave creature charges toward Burke's men. Several guards try to stop Creech. Even though the creature fights back, the attackers slowly overpower it. Nearby, Burke forces Coley toward the edge of a cliff. Creech desperately tries to protect its friend. The creature climbs onto Burke's truck to stop him. Burke fights back and forces Creech away. Realizing Coley is still in danger, Creech refuses to quit. It grabs Burke's truck with its powerful tentacles. Using all of its strength, Creech throws the vehicle high into the air. The truck crashes into the giant pumping machines. The impact destroys the equipment. The damaged pumps explode and release all the dangerous pressure. Burke's own plan is turned against him. At the same time, Meredith notices that Coley is in trouble. Before she can reach him, the ground gives way. Coley falls into the huge underground pit. He lands inside the deep underground water. For a moment, everyone fears the worst. Then Creech dives into the water after him. A few moments later, the creature brings Coley safely back to shore. It also carries the damaged truck out of the water. As the water becomes calm again, something incredible happens. Many more glowing creatures rise from beneath the surface. An entire community of monsters has been living underground all along. The creatures gather around Coley. Their actions show that they are grateful for everything he has done. Coley smiles at Creech one last time. Although saying goodbye is difficult, he knows the creature belongs with its family. Creech looks at Coley before swimming back into the underground lake. The creature finally reunites with its family in their natural home. Sometime later, the Terravex mining project is permanently shut down. The environmental damage caused by the company is exposed. Tennyson is arrested for his crimes. His greed finally catches up with him. Life slowly returns to normal. Coley and Sheriff Rick repair the truck together. Their relationship also begins to improve. With the truck running again, Coley takes Meredith for a drive. The two head down the open road together. As the sun sets in the distance, they drive toward a brighter future. The movie ends on a happy note.